Cable Sports Channel presents the North Carolina Independent Schools Athletic Association Division I State Football Championship game between the 10-1 Charlotte Latin Hawks and the 9-1 Charlotte Christian Knights. Hello again, everyone. I'm Patrick Johnson, along with the coach Ned Gonet. Welcome into Charlotte. It's a matchup between a Latin club who was dominant last decade when it came to the championships against a Charlotte Christian club that is seeking their third straight title in a row. Plus, coach, it's a rematch of last year's championship game.
Well, Patrick, I think we're in for an exciting night of football. The weather's great. The crowd's going to be electric. These two teams locked horns about 5 weeks ago. Had a great contest. Christian coming out on top. I think it'll be interesting to see the adjustments and the changes as the game progresses.
As for Latin, they're a team that can certainly score points in bunches, churn out a lot of yards, but balance is going to be a key for them on offense, according to their veteran coach, Larry McNulty.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Any offensive coach wants to get a good run-pass balance. He's got a fantastic quarterback back there. If he can get a little running game going and get that offensive line to work, I think they can generate points early in the game.
As for the homestanding Knights, they have a punishing ground game. They're a team on defense that are quite stout, limiting opponents to less than 200 yards of total offense per game.
Charlotte Christian's an impressive team on offense. They got a power offense, good offensive line, a really strong running game, and I think that's going to be a key to see if they can keep Charlotte Christian off the field on offense.
Well, let's go to our star watch now, and for the Latin Hawks, it's Daniel Jones, the record-setting quarterback. His coach says he's one of the best ever wear a Hawks uniform.
He's a special young man. I tell you what, he can throw the ball well. He makes all the throws. His touchdown to interception ratios are really, really off the charts, and I think he's got to come out here tonight and play really well to put the Hawks in a position to win.
For Charlotte Christian, Elijah DeVoe out of the backfield is their leader.
Well, you know, Patrick, he's one of those classical kids that he runs behind his pads. He's a strong runner. He's got a lot of power. He's got a really vicious stiff arm, and he gets away from tacklers. And with that offensive line, he churns up yards quickly.
It's our Time Warner Cable Sports Channel Game of the Week, the Division I Football Championship game for the NCISAA. Charlotte Latin and Charlotte Christian, the coach and I will have the call coming up next. Should be a lot of fun here tonight as Charlotte Christian taking on Charlotte Latin. There's a brave soul out there in this 36-degree clear, cold night in Charlotte. Usually in the upper 40s on average for a high this time of year. Struggled to make it to the lower 40s today in the Queen City, and here we are on a cool night. Football the way it's meant to be played, Coach. I know you enjoyed being out there in that crisp autumn, almost wintry-like air for our open.
Yeah, Patrick, I tell you what, first of all, you know, got a great crowd here tonight, electric atmosphere. It's a little crisp bite in the wind. It's football weather.
There you go.
Originally being from Pittsburgh, this was a good sunny day in Pittsburgh, so hopefully everybody just getting ready for the kickoff.
Well, everybody is ready here. A good crowd is filed in for both sides. Charlotte Latin won the toss. They've deferred to the second half, so they will kick the football off. And it'll be Christian getting the football to start things here. It'll be fielded at the 5-yard line. And here's the return from McClinton. And McClinton, who averages over 33 yards a return, is brought down by Chris Elliott to start this thing here. And it'll be the Knights coming out. John Turley was not going to be the starter before the season. They had a quarterback transfer out, and he's been at the controls all season, leading him to a 9-1 record, including that opening game loss, their only loss, against the defending 4AA champion Mallard Creek by 7. So they'll have the football first, and we'll keep an eye on Elijah DeVoe coming off a 215-yard, 4-touchdown performance in the game before this championship tilt to propel them here. And it's going to be Turley keeping it. Does not average a ton of yards on the ground. Turley's more of what you would call a game manager, but he's had a pretty good year, completing 53% of his passes for over 1,444 yards. Alec Hamp, the 6'4", 225-pound senior, made the stop for Charlotte Latin.
Yeah, Patrick, Charlotte Christian came out the first play and emptied the backfield. Spread out the Latin defense and ran the quarterback up the middle behind that big offensive line.
Actually have DeVoe split out to the top of your screen. We're just underway. And nothing for Jalen McClinton. He was trying to find room on the outside corner. Good pursuit by Hunter Sheridan, the Sam linebacker for this Hawks defense. He made the stop. And here's another look at it, Coach.
Yeah, that was off the quarterback read. They're reading that play there, right there, and he's reading that defensive end. He gave the ball as a good play by Lattin's defense to spread that out.
They've completed over 40% of their third downs this season. They're facing 3rd and long here. Turley will go to the air, and a little bit of a miscommunication as that one was intended. Out on the flats for Josh Broadway. Melvin Rouse was there in coverage. Broadway with 14 receptions. Coach, that's the first time this year they've thrown Broadway's direction, and the pass has been incomplete to him. So it's going to be 4th down. They're going to punt the football. We know you can't ask for anything more coming into a visitor's place. 3 down, 3 and out. Hold them to getting a 1st down and forcing a punt. Be alert for this punt return. They got an electric receiver back there. Ball hit the ground, but Van Sickle, who's an excellent kicker, is able to put the punt inside the 30. And the return of just a couple of yards for Rouse, who averages a little over 6 yards per punt return. Grant Armistead making the special team tackle. So now the Hawks will come out, and this will be fun to watch their offense, Coach. They come out averaging 48 points per ball game, 457 yards of total offense, and they are led by Daniel Jones. Aspirations of going to play for Princeton in the Ivy League has committed to him from a football standpoint, but has to get into school. That can be kind of tough to get in those Ivy League schools. And Daniel Jones certainly has the pedigree to do that. A great leader for this Charlotte Lattin. Look for Lattin to stretch the team vertical right off the gate, run the speed option. Jones can run it too, and he cuts it back in. Very nice. Got a couple of yards ahead to the 35-yard line. Daniel Jones, 15 of 24 last week for 240 yards. He ran for 123 and 3 touchdowns in their win against Country Day, 42-21 to get him here. Tempo's a key for Lattin here. They're trying to kind of keep the tempo on their side. 2nd and long. 2nd and 6, make it. Jones, sprint pass, and a 1st down grab out across the 45-yard line. Nice reception by Melvin Rouse, already committed to Duke as a sophomore. That's his 25th grab. And Dalton Govea making the tackle for the Charlotte Christian Knights. Got to keep your eye on Melvin because they try to get the ball to him in space. And when he gets it out there in the open, you're going to have to make sure you come up from all angles to tackle him. He can get away real quick. It's been quite a year for Charlotte Lattin. 5 different players have gone down since the spring because of ACL injuries. They've persevered, and a couple of minutes into this one, they're moving the football. Out on the flats, nice grab made. Reception by Carson Song. That's his 36th reception of the year. The lacrosse player averages 14 yards a grab. Trey Linton was on him, the senior, out on defense. Well, Lattin came out in a 2-by-2 set, and they kind of ran some combo routes. They took the interior guy and ran him in a flat flood route, and ran the other guy off, and I think Daniel's reading that. He's just reading the coverage back there. Got a 2nd and 10 here. Jones. The long count at the line. A couple of receivers to either side. Pressure, and his safety valve couldn't hang on. Overshot Whitmore, and pursuit put on by Connor Maitland, the defensive end, 5'11", 225-pound junior, and nobody touched him. It's kind of interesting. Charlotte Christian's run that 4-man front up there for the most part. They're playing a little bit back. Seems to me to be playing a little bit, maybe a cover 2. Let's see if they switch up here as they go to a 3rd and long. Mike Rose is the Christian defensive coordinator. What a job he's done with this program. What a run they've been on. Charlotte Lattin was the king of the Queen City for the last decade, and on 3rd and 10, they have a 1st down completion into Knights territory at the 40-yard line. That was a great throw and catch. It looked to me like Christian was playing dead man up that time. Looked like everybody was running, and Daniel found the open man over top in that combo route. That was Tuttle, whose dad played at Clemson, making his 34th grab of the year. He comes in averaging 23.5 yards, has 11 touchdowns, and is one of the great weapons on this Hawks offense. They are 4-1 on the road this year, 10-1 overall. They've won 9 of 11 on the road. Tough environment here tonight to start things, but they're moving the sticks. And they're going for a home run ball. They have it down the field. Latin on the board first. Touchdown.
You know, Patrick, that's the same route they ran about 3 plays ago where they hit it in the flat. And I think that time they cut the receiver down the side. It was a great throw, great catch. And what a way to come in and move the chains and score first. That's critical in a game like this.
Masardo, his 3rd touchdown grab of the year. He got by Linton. And now Tommy Hawkyard, the junior, will be on to attempt the extra point. He's hit 65 out of 73 this season. And the kick is good. Masardo, by the way, had just 1 catch when these teams played earlier 5 weeks ago in this venue where the Knights won 40-30. He had just 1 reception last week for 11 yards, but he gets his team on the board here early.
Well, I'll tell you something. You know, Daniel Jones can throw the ball a long way and really put it right in a great spot. He read coverage. I think they played him down under. He got behind the defense and he laid it right into his hands and was able to get the ball in the end zone. You know, as a coach, you talk to your team all the time about move the chains and possess time. And boy, what a great thing to come out and be able to put the first score on the board away from home in a big game like this.
Last week, Coach, Daniel Jones passed Brandon Hansen, the Gatorade Player of the Year, in passing yards in a single season. And with this touchdown strike, he snaps the tie of 41 touchdowns, and now he's the single season owner of touchdowns for the Hawks.
Right. Well, as we talked about in pregame, we knew he was going to be the catalyst and the engineer of the offense. He's got an array of receivers out there. And of course, I always got to get that protection from the offensive line. So on this kickoff, we got to keep an eye. They've got some pretty lethal people back there who can take the ball the distance. The Latin needs to cover and stay in their lanes here.
So the Knights will get it back. McClinton, who you just saw there a moment ago, who had the game's initial kickoff return. And Hawkyard's leg sends a sky kick down to the 5. Another good return for McClinton. And McClinton still on his feet down the sideline. He'll get it out near midfield.
No flags on the play.
Now that penalty marker is in the area where it will appear to be a block in the back, but Jalen McClinton doing his part to try to get things going here. Chip Griffin, the senior on special teams, made the stop.
You know, special teams is going to come into play in this game, whether it be a kick, a punt, a return. Both these teams have really, really sound special teams. You know, the 3rd phase of the game, obviously. And so we'll see as the game progresses, you know, what team was able to maybe get something in those areas by the game's end.
Robert Adden is our referee. It is a hold. 10 penalties for Charlotte Christian in their 40-30 win against Latin back here in early October. Latin had 14 flags thrown against him.
You know, Patrick, it looks like Charlotte Latin's almost playing 9 in the box down there. They walked up to a 5-man front. They got the safety only 6 yards. That's pretty unique. They must be focusing on number 12.
So Turley, 1st and 10 from the 24. And how about that? Elijah Devereaux. He's a handful. Carson Song finally brought him down, but not before he rumbled ahead across the 35-yard line for a first down.
Patrick, we talked about him in pregame. He has got tremendous bounce. He's got a really lethal forearm that he stiff arms you with, and you got to tackle him. You got to gang tackle him.
DeVoe with 1,724 yards, 19 scores coming in. Headed to Duke, had interest from Georgia Tech, State, Pitt, and Wake. Gets the ball again. Coach, such a patient runner. He really lets the blocks develop. Carson again came up to make the hit out of the secondary, but he really did a nice job there of letting that play develop.
Well, you got the guards wrapping there. Gavea, you got the fullback coming around, so he's waiting to be very patient to set up his blocks. He does a very, very good job of that, getting those big boys up in front of him.
It's a gain of 9. Bring up 2nd down and a long 1. Offset fullback, play action, out in the flats, the grab made, and hauled in out on that far side, and that'll It'll be a first down. Song again, and they went to one of their fullbacks there, Connor Maitland, who made the grab.
You know, Patrick, that's the old waggle pass off the start of the sprint draw action. You got to be disciplined on defense. They slipped the fullback out in the flat. That's a very much of a staple play for Charlotte Christian.
Pick up of 12 yards, Maitland making his 12th reception of the year. Turley completing 53% of his passes. He has 21 scores. He's had a nice season. And they go with the back on the ground. And a swarming defensive effort that time by the Hawks, led by their interior linemen, Okwara and McMaster, Tay McMaster. A couple seniors there. Okwara, he's a handful, 305 pounds, big eater.
That's a little fullback trap. They're trying to keep you honest with that a little bit. They're trying to go right in the teeth of the defense. Mike Hawks is drawing up some pressure. He's changing up his defense a little bit. They're kind of keeping a lot of players in the box, making it a little challenging to run the ball up in there.
Fifth play of this drive as they try to answer the Latin score as we're nearing the midway point of the first quarter. Little dance by DeVoe, and very little that time. Owen Armstrong, the strong safety, recording the stop. And down to the 41-yard line.
Charlotte Latin looks like they're really focusing on the run. Let's see if Christian might try to cross them up here and get something vertical in the passing game. Keep an eye on the tight end. Make sure they watch your release. They're actually flipping the tackle over here.
The Latin defense has limited opponents to just 29% on third down this year. They've got the Knights at a 3rd and long, and a fumble. And that'll bring up 4th and long. Coach, I'm not sure what happened there. It looked like, did DeVoe maybe take his eye off of that?
I think you're right, Patrick. I think he was looking up the field a little bit to kind of set up his blocks. You know, he did the smart thing. He got on it, covered it up, maintained possession. Unfortunately, it's now 4th and 13. It looks like Christian's rolling out the punt team. Again, keep an eye on Rouse. They need to make sure they're covering on him because they'll set up a return here quick.
So they'll punt from the 48. Van Sickle is getting a ton of attention. That goes over his head. He's going to have to play quarterback. Nope, rugby-style kick instead. And it'll be taken at the 30. On the run. What a heads-up play by the return man, Rouse.
That's a real momentum swinger right there. Rouse was very alert to come up and take the ball on the run, picked up a couple blocks, and turned the ball across midfield.
Van Sickle had to make the potentially touchdown-saving tackle. That one was just airmailed from the long snapper Oates, who's so reliable. So a couple of misplays here. What a heads-up play by Melvin Rouse.
So keep an eye on Latin's personnel. They got the fullback in the game, 44. Don't be surprised if they go vertical on this first play.
They'll start at the 44 in Hawks, rather Knights territory. Two receivers bunched up to the short side of the field. Here's Jones negotiating his way ahead. And coach, if they can get 3 to 4 yards on every first down run off the legs of Jones or whomever, they will be in a really nice position.
Well, that's a little quarterback trap up the middle. They're pulling the guard. They have a lead back coming through. And with his size, he leans up there for 5 yards. That's extremely effective. Makes it 2nd and 4 or 5.
Daniel Jones, 6'5", 200-pound senior. The leadership quality that he displays, according to Coach Larry McNulty, is off the charts. 295 wins in 30 years at Latin for Coach McNulty. We have 4.5 to go. Jones avoids 2. Trying to pick up a block and turn the corner. No, he's going to throw it. No, pump fake kept it. Darted out of bounds.
Coach Lee Rose dialed up some pressure. They brought an inside stunt by both linebackers and flushed Daniel out of the pocket. Daniel did a good job of escaping that pressure. Probably made a good decision to keep the ball and get what he could get out of it. That makes it 3rd and about 8.
Yeah, lost a yard. McCormick finally pushed him out, but you saw he got by Philip Walton there, and good pursuit by McCormick to stay with him. 3rd down. This year, they're 43% converting 3rd downs. Rouse, the fake. Jones It'll bring up 4th and long. Dalton Govea playing assignment football. The linebacker blew that up.
Yeah, once again, Daniel ran an inside read. He's reading that defensive end and chose to keep it. Govea did a nice job of sealing back in and making a play. And the linebacker spills, taking care of their fits over top is good. So that puts Lat in a 4th and 7. Looks like they're going to roll out the punt team.
You know, they had an opportunity there to try and go up 2 scores here. They actually led in the first matchup midway the second quarter, 17-14. Here's a look at McClinton, who is awaiting the punt. He's got 8 returns this year, including 1 for a score, and has an average of 12.8 for Christian. They had gray helmets when you brought your Ravenscroft team to town, didn't they?
I know they had gray uniforms. I can't remember. I believe their helmets were gray, or maybe even white.
Hawkyard, who averages, or rather Mathis, and the ball's fumbled. Mathis, his punt, and that'll be the 9th one. He's placed inside the 40. Coach, what happened there?
Well, 21 got down the field and sort of did put a big hit on him. Jarred the ball loose. Fortunately for Charlotte Christian, they were able to recover. So they're going to be backed up against their own wall.
Oh, Massardo with a hit. There was no fair catch called for.
Yeah.
And a fortunate bounce. They were lucky that the player got on it.
Look for Latin's defense here. Mike Cox will really sort of dial up a lot of pressure. That when the Christians got their back to the wall, see if he can force them in a 3 and out and maybe flip the field. Let's see what happens here. I didn't see a fair catch. They were asking for it down there, but I didn't see any signal.
You know, we saw it on the replay. He didn't throw his hand up.
No. If you see Charlotte Christian's got a tackle over here using 72 at a tight end on the right side.
Turley out of his end zone. And he creates a little bit of room to operate.
That used to be one of my favorite plays, a little inside trap to the fullback. Gets about 6-7 yards. That's a great little play.
Punch it out to 7 and bring up 2nd and 5. What a line they run behind. Philip Walton, the left tackle, is headed to NC State. Govea, who plays defense. Some interest from Appalachian State. Robert McLean is the center, but Ben Chafin is headed to Stanford. He's ranked as the #3 center in the country. He's had to move to right tackle because of an injury. Now here's Turley taking off. And he's going to scramble ahead and have enough yardage for 1st down. Carson making the tackle.
I think that's a little addition Coach C-Step put in there, a little quarterback sweep run. Got a little bit of escort out there around the end and sealed it and was able to get some pretty good yardage and move the chains. That's a critical play for Charlotte.
And a 5 out to the 12. 1st and 10 there.
Got to keep your eye on number 18, Josh Broadway. He's got a lot of speed out here on the receiver spot.
Broadway had 89 yards on 3 catches and a couple of scores in the first matchup between these two. On the ground with DeVoe, however. And it'll be Armstrong and Sheridan teaming to make the stop. 2 minutes, 20 seconds after that punt that pushed him back in a fumble down to the 2. Taking the football out where they can have a little bit of room to operate here. 2nd and 9 as they get the personnel straight. DeVoe lining up. Kind of a pistol look here as they're going to send a man in motion. DeVoe bangs off one tackler, and DeVoe then cut down.
I'll tell you something, Patrick. Number 4, Owen Armstrong, he's a quick read safety. He's playing about 7 yards, and he's immediately reading keys, and he's coming up quick to line of scrimmage and giving run support, which has been somewhat effective so far in this first quarter.
3rd and 7.
Both he and Carson Song are back there as 2 high safeties, and depending on what Christian does on offense, they're either settling in or settling back, but they're no deeper than about 7 yards. Got number 1 out here in the slot. Got to keep an eye with his size. They get the ball to him quite often.
Turley
wide open.
Going across his body and has his man at the 40-yard line. A tough throw, and the pass complete to Alex Parker, who makes his 10th reception of the year. Jackson Mott drilling the play, dragged him down. And for Alex Parker, and more importantly, John Turley, a big hit after running it on successive plays, and they explode for a first down.
You know, Patrick, that's a well-executed play. They came out with a twin set out here, and they basically rolled back one side and threw the ball backside to the tight end, who was lined up tight.
27-yard pickup. 1st and 10. Inside of a minute before the end of the first quarter. Turley snowed under after he broke an initial tackle. And there were a whole host of Latin defenders there, led by Addison DeBoard, the junior middle linebacker.
Well, Alex Half came up and made a great reaction, had him in the background, couldn't corral him, but he slowed him down enough for the rest of the crowd to get there and make a tackle and hold him to 1 yard gain.
The Knights beat Charlotte Latin in the title game back in 2008, and last year, back-to-back titles the last couple of seasons. This is their 6th title game all time. And they've won 28 of 29 coming in. Seconds remaining in this first quarter where they're down 7-0. Turley on the move, incomplete. Rouse there defensively, and the pass was intended downfield for Weigel. Matthew Weigel, big target, 6'5", 225-pound senior. Could not hold it in. Sorry, Coach.
I'm sorry. They ran a little wheel route there. They had Weigel in the slot, and they ran him over top, tried to get him down the boundary, use his height. Almost got it to him. It was good action.
6 seconds to go here on 3rd and 9. So this will be more than likely the final play of this opening quarter, and it's certainly been interesting. Turley has his man, breaks a tackle, and will finally be wrestled down at the 9-yard line. Rouse in coverage, got by him, and then Carson Song, who's been so active here early, had to chase him down. But a pass complete to Josh Broadway. You noted him earlier, Coach, and he came up big there.
Well, that was interesting. They flushed the pocket one way. He came backside. He's their speed guy. Josh Broadway's got good speed. Turley did a nice job of sort of deflecting the defense with his eyes, and then looking back, he knew he had him on a slant cut backside. Nice play, nice pass, nice reception to end the first quarter.
Cold night, a packed house in Charlotte. We'll be back with more of our championship game coverage on our Game of the Week.